Hey everyone. So it has finally gotten cool outside and it looks like we are going to get some rain. There was a storm in the forecast. I know some people were having some pretty bad storms, but we finally got a break in the rain. We finally got a break in the heat, and it is overcast and it's perfect time to transplant these tomatoes. Let me show you what they look like. So these are the tomatoes. Look at these leaves and how they are getting yellow and they are starting to suffer. So I really need to get these in the ground. Peppers are back here and they need to get in the ground as well. I've got cucumbers and squash and I think some sugar baby watermelon that has sprouted in these cups down here. Not to mention I got these zinnia seeds that have seedlings that have to go out, some sunflowers that have sprouted, and these are Shasta, daisy, and echinacea. I don't know which one's which. I just kind of sprinkled them both in the container. So I need to get these things out and planted, and then I also have some other things that I need to plant. And yeah, I've got this big umbrella over here over my herbs because they were baking out here in the sun. So we're gonna get some tomatoes planted. Let's go. All right guys, so it is already starting to rain and I did not get anything planted yet. I managed to get those zinnias out that I started in the paper towel. I managed to get those put out. And the way I did that was I just took the whole paper towel and I laid it right on the dirt, and then I lightly sprinkled the dirt over it until it covered the paper towel. And it's about to rain, so that'll rain it in real good. But I wanted to film. I'm gonna keep working, but it's just gonna be hard to film when it's raining. So I'll do some stuff and then I'll show you guys what I did afterwards, I guess. I would really have liked to show you guys. You know what? Maybe it'll stop and I'll be able to show you guys later. So what I'm doing here is clipping off all of the leaves that are below the top, maybe 3 or 4. You'll know it when you see it. It's like the top canopy of the seedling. So all those leaves underneath there need to come off. The reason why I do that is because tomatoes can be planted rather deep. They will develop roots along the whole stem. And not only that, but I want to prevent any splash or backsplash from getting on those leaves because that will cause disease. So here you can see that I trimmed the entire plant just all the way up to that top canopy. And I'm going to do this with all of my tomatoes and all of my peppers. So what I'm doing here is I'm digging kind of like a trench, and I'm going to bury nearly the entire stem of these tomato plants. And then for the first time this year, what I'm also doing is I am putting sardines in my planting holes. So this is just a regular can of sardines in water, and I'm going to dump out the water, and I'm going to spread out the sardines all in the trench, and that is going to create some nutrients, provide some nutrients for my plants. So before I plant my seedlings, I always like to loosen up the root system so that those roots are nice and spread out and loosened, and then they'll be more receptive to taking up nutrients and spreading out. Look at Zeke. He's so nosy. One thing I love about Zeke is he will not take anything unless I give it to him. So if you notice, the leaves that I'm cutting off of the seedlings, I'm letting those stay in the bed, and that's called chop and drop. So when you prune or trim any seedlings or leaves off your plants, as long as they're not diseased, then I would suggest leaving them drop into the bed, and then they will decompose, and that organic matter will turn into nutrients for your plants. If you notice, I always walk around the bed to plant on the other side, because you never want to walk on your beds, because that will cause your soil to compact, and that could inhibit your growth of your plants and the root system. So you never want to walk in your beds. Ideally, your bed should reach the arm span, your arm span. So you should be able to reach from the width of the bed in your arm span. If not, then you should be able to reach at least half of the bed and have access to the other side of the bed so that you can reach in on the other half, and that's the case here. So these are some bamboo skewers that I found at the Dollar Tree, and there's 12 of them in here, and they're really quite long. I found these and I thought, wow, those would be perfect for some support. So I'm going to stick these in next to each one of the seedlings. One thing about adding supports for your seedlings is you want to do it early as possible. So as soon as you transplant your seedlings, you want to add the support then, because later on you could risk disturbing the root system. Okay, so since I have put the sardines in the planting holes, I chop off the tops of my onion and I spread that around so that I can mask the smell of the sardines. So not only did I put the onion down, but I also have a huge bag of coffee grounds that I got from the local coffee shop, and I'm adding that as well. So I'm adding that all across the garden bed. The filters that are in there, I am going to put those across where the roots are on the beds. just for some added protection against any critters that might want to try to dig up the sardines. But the coffee grounds and the onion clippings should do a fairly good job at masking the smell, and they will also add organic matter to the soil, which will draw worms and in turn fertilize my bed. So over here on the other side of the garden, I am putting in tomatillos, and I'm going to clip these chives that are here, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did in the big tomato bed, where I'm going to put the sardines in the planting hole and cover the smell with the chives, cutting off these leaves all the way up, and then I'm going to take these flowers off because I want the plant to develop a good root system before it starts trying to set fruit. So I'm going to take these flowers off and trim it all the way up, loosen the root system. That way it gives it a good chance to spread out and retain some of the nutrients that are in the soil and get nice and strong before it tries to set fruit. Alright guys, so I did get back out here, and it had stopped raining, and I did get out here and it was nice and overcast. But now, as you can see, this sun is blazing. So I got some things done. I got the Purple Beauty peppers. Let me show you guys. I got the Purple Beauty peppers here. I got those in. I got the Sweet 100 along the fence. Sweet 100 tomatoes. I got those in along the fence. I discovered a volunteer squash over here, so I'm going to leave that grow. I love volunteers. So that's a volunteer there. Over here, I put in the tomatillos. I don't know if you can see those. There's one here. There's one there. There's one here. And one over there. So I got 4 of those in. Down here I did some red grape tomatoes. I got 4 of those put in. And then of course over here is all of those big tomatoes I got put in with those stakes. I ended up taking that corner kale out of there, and I trimmed off all the flowers off the kale. But it is now getting pretty hot out here. I was going to move on to planting my squash, my spaghetti squash and my honey boat squash out in that swimming pool with the oregano, but I think it's just too hot now, so we'll hold off on that. But that's about it, guys. That's all I got going on. I was trying to beat the heat. So I'm gonna water these things in real quick, and that's gonna be it. So until next time, the more you know, the more you grow. Bye guys.